Hello everybody. Welcome to Ask JP today. Let's go to the next question. Sri Harsha is from Rangareddy district, Telangana.
Namaskaram, sir. I am Sri Harsha. I am from Rangareddy district. I have completed Bachelor of Science from Government Degree College, Chevella. I have got admission in the Manipal University for MA Philosophy course. So I have took a detour from Science stream to Humanities stream. Sir, basically I have two questions. First question is why in India humanities and liberal education are underrated or preferred less, and how can more opportunities be created in these fields so that it acts as an incentive to more students to choose these fields. Second question, as I am going to study philosophy, I request you to give some valuable insights how philosophy can play its role in transforming the society, at the same time how it can help uh, to form government policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Harsha. Now, we all know that the fascination of all Indian parents is for medicine, engineering. Nowadays, some of the more enlightened parents are going for accounts and law, a few, but ultimately it's all limited. Limited to their understanding of what are the economic opportunities for the child. We cannot blame the parents. In a poor country, we're all insecure. We're scared for the future of our children. We want to give them an opportunity, an advantage. Even in rich countries, if children seek occupations or academic courses which are not really marketable, parents are scared. It's an understandable thing. And in a poor country, much more so. But there is another reason. In scientific disciplines, education is very bad in India across the board. Whether it's social, whether it's humanities or sciences in general, in most places, education is very substandard. We're pretending that there's good education. Rote learning, mass copying, make sure that people get certificates and degrees without any marketable skills. That's why most people in India are unemployable even after a university degree. But it's much worse in humanities for a peculiar reason. In sciences, even if we are not creating new knowledge in the country, at least the other societies, rest of the world is creating new knowledge which can be applied to economic activity, technologies. And therefore you can borrow it and embrace it. And there is some degree of confidence that if only you actually apply your mind, you go to one of the better institutions, you are marketable. Your work is relevant in society. Humanities, the global knowledge creation is not always very relevant to our society. Science is universal, whether it's digitalization or healthcare technologies or genomics or electric vehicle or battery storage of power or something else. These are universal. There's nothing specific about a particular country. Whereas humanities knowledge, while there are some broader global principles applicable to all humanity, a lot of humanities knowledge is local specific. Unless your culture, your history, your society, in the context of India, your own caste system, your religiosity, your diversity, unless you actually create new body of knowledge to suit our requirements, there is no marketable skill that we are giving. Even if society wishes to employ these people, they are not really suitable to meet the needs of our country. Take political science graduates in India. Most of them have no clue about voter registration, its strengths and weaknesses. Very little knowledge. Most of them have no clue about how the political parties actually operate and what happens in the rest of the world and what can be done to make our political parties function better. We simply mouth the standard slogans and shibboleths without any deep understanding of what's happening to our country. The same is true with society, same is true with a whole lot of areas relevant to our country. So unless a body of knowledge is developed to make it relevant to our needs, the parents or the kids will not have the confidence that learning that discipline is going to be of value to them in life. One is the economic part of it, that you are employable, your services are marketable because they are useful. The second is, even if services are not marketable in an economic sense, if at least the parents and the kids know that it's relevant to the society's needs. Sometimes what is needed for the society does not pay. Does not matter. There are enough people who are willing to do something worthwhile, even if they don't get a decent income from that. But if your knowledge does not really allow you to do something worthwhile, you're not prepared for that, you don't have enough skills or understanding, then that education is meaningless. It's only giving a degree. So humanities suffer especially because we are not creating indigenous knowledge base to suit our requirements and needs. Whereas in case of sciences also, while we are not creating much knowledge, what is created in the rest of the world is relevant to us also most of the time. But I think things must change, because what many people should realize is all the manufacturing in India, all the material goods in the world, they are all produced by just about 180 to 200 million people, about 20 crore workers across the world. Many people say 18 crore workers out of the population of roughly about 800 crore, 8 billion people. There are multiple needs of other kinds that are growing. Unless we prepare our children to meet those needs, there is no employability nor are society's needs met. The notion that only technology and engineering are the passports to economic future is not always right. Certainly, we require an understanding of technology. We require an understanding of natural sciences and medicine. There's no question about it. But we also require much more. And knowledge must be integrated, multidisciplinary. If you are studying political science or sociology or economics, it doesn't mean that you don't know anything else. You actually have to combine all these fields of knowledge and synthesize the knowledge. And in the growing world, in a rapidly changing world with ChatGPT, with fewer and fewer people producing more and more goods and services for the rest of humanity, we don't know what kind of jobs our children are going to hold. Many economists say today's children, the jobs they're going to hold, we only have an idea in respect of 30% of the jobs, but 70% of the jobs they're going to hold have not yet been created. The world is changing so fast. That world, that changing world, requires integrated approach. That world requires a synthesis. It requires a multidisciplinary approach. But above all, it requires real knowledge, not bookish knowledge and rote learning and mass copying, not perfunctory degrees, but real knowledge relevant to the country's needs or society's needs or global needs. If we focus on that, I think in the changing global environment, there is greater need for all kinds of disciplines, including philosophy. Sriharsh asked about relevance of philosophy. I cannot go into a treatise on philosophy. I am neither an expert nor is there time. But what is philosophy? It's about asking the very grand questions. From ethical questions in an ever-changing world to the questions about the origin of humanity to our role and relationships across the globe. So whether philosophy or other social sciences, they have immense relevance, particularly because of a changing world. The certainties of the 20th century are giving way to many great uncertainties because the pace of change is incredible. 20 years ago, what we thought were unthinkable, today they are ubiquitous. And therefore, technology is also progressing. Many people are wondering now, is it good to have ChatGPT or AI technologies? Will they conquer the humanity like some of the disaster films they show us? Are we going to enter into an area where human beings will be completely marginalized? These are very big questions. If you want to regulate, to what extent? Stem cell technology or genomics. Many dramatic changes are happening. To what extent should we actually apply the technology? What are the good things and what are the bad things? What are the institutional arrangements required? So all these require a multidisciplinary approach, including understanding philosophy. Genuine philosophy, not merely mugging up what one philosopher said, what another philosopher said, but apply the human quest for centuries to modern context, to our emerging needs and the future needs. If you have that kind of education, whether it's a formal degree or not, doesn't matter. Your knowledge doesn't depend on the formal degree. Formal degree merely says that you went to school for a few years. Hopefully you learned something. But that acquisition of knowledge, if it's applicable, if it's relevant to our needs, and finally, if it's economically marketable. Applicable, relevant, marketable. If those three things are issued, at least two of the boxes are there, are ticked, then I think that knowledge is useful and we must pursue it. So I believe while world over there is a demand for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's inevitable. In a technology age with ever rapidly changing technology, It's inevitable that the technology will attract many people. But life is indivisible, much more complex than mere technology. Society is getting more and more complex. Lives are becoming impersonal. Cities are growing. Urbanization is an inevitable thing. Even in a country like India, from a 70% rural India, very highly controlled, regimented lives, community living, everybody knowing everybody else, and strong families. We are going to have increasing urbanization with impersonal lives, alienation. And therefore, unless we have a deeper understanding of society and its functioning, and figure out how to build institutions to meet the new needs, there'll be a lot more people who will be unhappy. So I think we require an integrated approach to knowledge without ignoring science and technology. Our education in general is so flawed, it doesn't matter if it's humanities or sciences, we actually have to do a lot more than other countries.